let me get straight into it. This is from my novel, Part 3, Chapter 6, and it's extracted from a chapter. And it's set in the President of Russia's Oval Office, formal office, and the meeting has already begun. President Pushkin pulled him close. "Basil, no need to thank me. I'm the keeper of the soul of our country. In the days ahead, I need you to remember that. Life is not going to be a simple affair for us, for you, me, or Anton. I'm sure I don't need to explain it to you. If we were to believe this Pope's ramblings, the secret of your son's unique genetic heritage is already coming out, and this bastard Pope means the slanderous as monsters." He pulled back. "On that note, let's get down to business. What's your take on this Pope?" "No, hold that. Speaking of a note," Pushkin looked down, fumbled through his wallet, and tendered payment to Bestrashnikov. "Karl, it was 100 rubles, right?" The bet concerned the US Supreme Court's most recent decision. Pushkin had lost. Bestrashnikov nodded circumspectly. "Yes, sir." As Pushkin handed off the bill to Bestrashnikov, Elena entered the room with a tray of refreshments and deposited them on the side table. Receiving a curt thanks from Pushkin, she exited, leaving her boss to serve the tea. Pushkin was pouring the first cup when he turned and noticed that it was Basil who was pocketing his recently surrendered 100 ruble note. Pushkin flexed his brow and mused. I guess you two had a side bet." Basil addressed his president. "Well, Karl bested us both, sir. The decision was per curiam, as he predicted, but I correctly guessed it would be a 3-6 decision. We all doubled down, sir, so Karl owed me 100 on top of the 100 I would have owed him." And he paused, holding Pushkin's gaze. Of course, excuse me." Pushkin stopped pouring tea, dove back into his trousers to retrieve his wallet, and pulled out 2 100 ruble notes. Remind me never to bet against you two sharks again. This is the humiliation one suffers when you become a president of Russia who bets against his own chiefs of intelligence, becomes isolated and out of touch with the American political system, and has the so-called inside track with the US president himself as his point of contact. "Thank you, sir." And Basil politely emancipated the 2 bills from Pushkin's hand. Pushkin served up tea all round, and took a platter terraced with shortbread over to the coffee table. They sat, and true to custom, savored a few quiet moments, devouring the Kremlin kitchen's fabled sugar crunch shortbread cookies, before Pushkin broached his men for their insights. "Okay, gentlemen, now that all bets are settled up, I'd like some explanations. Karl, what made you think the US Supreme Court would not hear oral argument?" Bestrashnikov smiled like a stallion sent out to stud. "Politics, Mr. President. If you recall, Patterson versus Gore was decided per curiam. It allowed the court, which had pre-decided the matter, to avoid a public spectacle. I figured that if the Chief Justice knew that he had 5 votes in the bag for his brother, the other 4 dissenting votes were irrelevant quinquillation. Since John is like Norman, it was only natural that he would deploy the per curiam tactic that the court utilized to sidestep public rancor in the contentious Patterson versus Gore debacle. With terrorism sucking up their media and public attention, your average Joe Americano is as sheepish as ever to challenge the authority of elected officials or the puissance of the Supreme Court. With the stability of law and order on the line, silence is golden, sir." Pushkin nodded in vehement agreement. "Well reasoned as always, Karl. I was of a mind that the court might hear the case so that all grievances could be aired before it, and ruled that Congress had finally clarified that it was a 2-century-old British holdover, and got around to defining through an American statute the span of time called 1 year. Clearing his throat of what remained of a shortbread, Pushkin motioned silence and took a sip of tea before continuing.